President Francois Bozize himself came to power in a coup in 2003, and the country has vast mineral reserves with large deposits of gold, uranium and diamonds. But despite that, more than 60% of the country live in poverty. Well, joining me live from London is Ayo Johnson, Director of Viewpoint Africa. Ayo Johnson, so news that President Bozize has apparently fled the country. How significant then was this final push by the rebels to oust him? Because it seemed pretty well organized, didn't it?
They're very well organized. They've been keeping the momentum and the pressure on for some time. And of course, when the peace talks failed and they've asked specifically for people who they know are in jail to be released, and also for foreign troops, as they see it, especially that of South Africa and Ugandan troops, to leave their country. When that didn't materialize, the rest was history. They came in full force, and of course, now the president has fled. President Bozize, clearly a man who came to the power, the barrel of a gun himself, it would mean that he would actually have left the country by that gun itself, under that pressure.
So who exactly are these Seleka rebels, Ayo, and what more details do we know about the demands they're exactly making?
Well, the rebels are a colourful group that comes from that particular central republic, but also they've also got other rebels who've joined them. They're concerned that the LRA rebels, some elements may have supported them. Also, some Chadian rebels have supported their ranks. They clearly want to take control of the country. They think that President Bozize was, he himself was a dictator, as they claim it. They think that large swathes of the country are still poor. For a country that's so rich in minerals, it would appear that the vast majority of men and women live below the poverty line. So that's their call. But you can see that this particular country has had a lot of problem with coup d'etat, counter-coup d'etats, rebel incursions, so much so that South Africa, the superpower on the African continent, has decided to send troops, which they've done previously, and want to maintain that troop movement to make sure that there's some level of stability. But a concern again from the French, who are already on the ground, taking the airport. I must say that this is all the seeds of potentially problems leading forward, because the rebels would have to clash with the French at some point. The rebels would have to clash with South African troops at some point. And of course, potentially the civilians on the ground are going to be mostly affected. Yeah,
I was going to say, what about the international community here? Because they have a number of stakeholders in this crisis. What more can we expect from them?
Well, I don't believe the international community are going to support any rebels. I mean, we've had too many rebels that have come and go since the 1960s, either taking power, relinquishing power, under the disguise of the barrel of a gun. President Bozize himself was no exception. And of course, be it that his reign in that country had some level of legitimacy because he'd had a series of elections that he'd won. Nonetheless, I think the international community, especially that of people in Africa, and South Africa specifically so, would be wanting not to support the rebels at this junction. So the UN already have pulled their numbers from the ground. The UN personnel have left. So they're concerned that this can become very, very ugly very, very quickly.
Ayo Johnson, thank you for talking to Aljazeera.
Thank you, Darren.
Now, China's economy might be booming, but the country's environment is a growing concern to its citizens. Half of China's cities don't even have enough clean drinking water. Scott Heidler reports from Hong Kong.
Water pollution in China is becoming almost impossible to ignore. 40% of all surface water is polluted, in some cases so badly that simply touching it can be dangerous. There have been several high-profile incidents, like a spill in January at this fertilizer plant in Shaanxi in northern China. A faulty hose leaked 9 tons of chemicals into a river. The plant needs a steady supply of water, so it and other factories like it are built next to rivers and lakes. But what brought so much attention to this spill was that officials waited 5 days before reporting it.